Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. Right, let's take a look at every Premier League club, find one summer signing they made this year and see who they actually should have signed for instead. Right, let's go. Arsenal, WILLIAN, Tottenham. Okay, who wasn't WILLIAN linked with this summer? Yeah, apparently Tottenham wanted him, even though he walked out on the medical 7 years ago. It's a bit like crawling back to your next wife even though she once spat in your mother's face. Lads, WILLIAN played the best football of his life under Jose Mourinho. Yes, he has massive wages rammed down his throat at Arsenal, but an outside title challenge under his greatest ever manager, competing in Europe with Harry Kane and Gareth Bale? Oh, he should have gone to Tottenham. Aston Villa, OLLIE, WATKINS, Leeds. Okay, yes, I know OLLIE Watkins has settled in nicely at Aston Villa. Sure, he scored a hat-trick at Villa Park, but so what? Patrick Bamford did that too. Leeds were eyeing up taking Watkins from Brentford all summer long, and if Marcelo Bielsa can make a violent player like Bamford look like a threat, what do you think he'd have done to Watkins, an actually competent goal scorer? Yes, Villa have started the season well, but as a striker, would you rather be coached by Pep Guardiola's idol or a former Port Vale defender? Brighton, Donny, WELBECK, Fenerbahce. Listen, on one hand, I commend Donny Welbeck for turning down stupidly eye-watering wages of £140,000 a week at Fenerbahce, but why? Why would you do this? Do you really want to spend your late 20s warming the bench at Brighton? Did you not find being a bit-part player in the relegation battle last season to be frustrating as balls? Is that not why you quit Watford in the first place? In Turkish football, he could become a 20-goal-a-season striker again. Actually, I say again, for the first time in his career. Christ, look at Alexander Sorloth. Even Daniel Sturridge rediscovered his confidence in front of goal before that ban. And considering Darius Vassell received a welcome in that country as if he was a Ballon d'Or star, then a former Man United and Arsenal striker with nearly 20 goals for England, oh, he'd even worship like an utter king. But no, instead enjoy the Brighton bench. Burnley, nobody. Yeah, sorry lads, Burnley only signed 2 players this summer, Dale Stephens and Will Norris. And I've tried, I've searched far and wide, and I don't actually think any living entity on planet Earth showed any flicker of an interest in either of those footballers this summer. So I guess they didn't really have much of a choice. Chelsea, Timo Werner, Liverpool.
Liverpool offered much higher wage to Timo Werner than Chelsea and were willing to pay fee.
Yeah, apparently Diogo Jota was plan B, but are we surprised? Jurgen Klopp has been linked with the move for Timo Werner for 18 months, so that's why it was such a weird surprise to suddenly see him tie up a move to Chelsea in mid-June. Lads, just forget for a second the Stamford Bridge is a graveyard for centre forwards. Had he gone to Anfield, he'd be playing under arguably the greatest manager on the planet for a club challenging for both the Premier League and Champions League. Why did he not go? Chelsea under Frank Lampard were a project. But isn't that exactly what he left in RB Leipzig? I thought he wanted immediate success. Why didn't he go to Liverpool? Crystal Palace, Jack Butland, Liverpool. I feel bad for Jack Butland. This guy's only 27. By rights, he should be breathing down Jordan Pickford's throat for the England #1 shirt. This guy was supposed to be the next in line, the heir to Joe Hart, but instead he's had his confidence chewed to pieces by relegation with Stoke and a failure to get out of the Championship. Sure, he's back in the Premier League, but does anyone even care? A potential England #1 is warming the bench in a relegation battle. Lads, Liverpool were linked, especially after RHIAN let in 7 at Villa Park, and isn't playing the role of backup goalie more beneficial at Liverpool than Palace? RHIAN already has over 20 first-team games under his belt, including Champions League matches. That could be Butland. He could have restored his confidence and learning from arguably the most complete goalkeeper on the planet. But no, what's he going to learn from sitting next to Martin Kelly and Max Meyer for 6 goddamn months? Everton, James Rodriguez, Juventus. Okay, on one hand, it's great seeing James Rodriguez back playing games, enjoying his football, flourishing at Everton, but on the other hand, it's a bit of a waste for a guy who should be competing in the Champions League every season. It's not as if he didn't have options. Apparently Juventus wanted his signature, and apparently he had the backing of former teammate Cristiano Ronaldo. This man's CV consists of European giants, so it's a bit weird to instead see him end his 20s playing with Tom Davies every week. He could have added a Serie A Meldo's collection of silverware, and I'm sorry, but there's more chance of me coughing up a squirrel than of James winning the Premier League at Goodison Park. Fulham, Ruben LOFTUS-CHEEK, Southampton. Fulham is the wrong move for Ruben LOFTUS-CHEEK's career. This is a guy who knows that all he needs to do is get regular football to get himself back in Gareth Southgate's England team. But how is he ever supposed to restore some belief as a ball-playing midfielder in a relegation battle with Fulham? How is he supposed to advertise himself in a brain-dead, downtrodden midfield next to Tom Kearney? Southampton, by contrast, are an exciting attacking team who play on the front foot and wanted him in the summer. And I'm sorry, but a year under Ralph Hasenhüttl is going to do far more for your international career than a year under Scott Parker fighting for his job. Leeds, Diego Llorente, Liverpool. Yeah, this is a move that would have suited everyone. Well, maybe not Leeds. But yeah, especially now that Virgil van Dijk's knee is being turned into a wet Petit Falou. The Reds were linked with a £26 million move for Diego Llorente, a Spanish centre-back from Real Sociedad, for ages. Sure, his move to Leeds might turn out well, but he must look at Van Dijk rotting on the sideline. And a Liverpool defence which conceded 7-1 match, and he must be cursing his luck that he didn't waddle in as Dejan Lovren's replacement. Leicester, Timothy Castagne, PSG. Listen, Leicester City is a pretty good move for Belgian fullback Timothy Castagne, sure, but let's not pretend that it was the best career move he could have made this summer. After being knocked out of the Champions League by PSG with Atalanta, he'd clearly done enough to chuck himself in the shop window. The French giants were sniffing around him all summer, so bypassing the chance to play with Mbappe and Neymar every week, and hoovering up every domestic medal in sight, he's instead at Leicester. He's probably still bashing his head against a sink. Liverpool, CASTAGNE, Leicester. Yeah, CASTAGNE made the move that Jamal Lewis didn't, i.e. sacrificing his potential by going rusty on the Liverpool bench. This guy is 23, he's too old to be playing second fiddle to Andy Robertson, and they didn't even last long in the League Cup this season. How many games is he actually going to play? Apparently Brendan Rodgers did want the Olympiacos defender as first choice replacement for Ben Chilwell. If he'd gone there, he'd be playing Premier League football every week, instead of being a virtual cheerleader at Anfield. But maybe he enjoys being the next Alberto Moreno, who knows? Man City and AKE Man United. Nathan Ake is this year's version of Harry Maguire, an overrated mid-table defender who somehow had both Manchester clubs fighting over his signature. I'm sorry, but the Dutchman has made the wrong call. Tying up a £40 million switch from Bournemouth to the Etihad, he's essentially being chucked into a pool of about 7 centre-backs fighting for 2 spots. Surprise, surprise, he's only started 4 out of 11 games this season. And considering he's part of a bench which conceded 5 at home in 1 match, I'm pretty sure he's ruined his audition. Man United wanted him though. Christ above, Odegaard and Solskjaer tried to tap him up on the pitch, and I promise you, considering the way they've defended this season, Ake will play every minute of every game this season. And isn't that better for his career than sitting next to John Stones on the bench? Man United, Donny van de Beek, Real Madrid. Okay, for some reason, Donny van de Beek made the decision Toni Kroos is too clever to make. The German had both Real Madrid and Man United fighting for a signature in 2014, and 3 Champions Leagues later, I think he made the right choice. So what was Van de Beek thinking? You could be the latest Galactico fighting for every available trophy on Earth, being mentored by arguably the greatest midfielder of all time. Instead, it's November and he's played just 74 minutes of Premier League football for a team still yet to win a Premier League match at home, and with a manager clearly out of his depth. Just why, Donny? Why? Newcastle, RHIAN FRASER Celtic. At the start of the year, RHIAN FRASER was probably hell-bent on getting a move to either Liverpool or Arsenal. Turns out those clubs aren't actually interested in signing out-of-form wingers who bail on their relegation-threatened clubs in times of need. So instead, he's a Newcastle bench warmer. Honestly, the Scotland International has started just 1 league game this season. That is it. Had he swallowed his pride and just gone to Celtic when he had the chance, he'd get to experience European football, win a few trophies, and just like Scott Sinclair, he'd probably enhance his ego by morphing into a 20-goal-a-season superstar. Not to mention, he said part of the reason for moving to Newcastle was to be closer to his family in Aberdeen, but it's still nearly a 5-hour drive. Glasgow, by contrast, half the commute. Come on, lad. Sheffield United, RHIAN BREWSTER, Rangers. RHIAN BREWSTER's made the wrong move. This is an exciting young 20-year-old talent, hyped up after ripping up underage football with both Liverpool and England, but a £23 million permanent move to an out-of-form team clinging to the last morsels of morale and confidence, smothered by second-season syndrome, and with a midfield clearly allergic to crossing the goddamn ball. What was he thinking? I get that he's excited by the prospect of first-team football, but you've just committed 5 years of your life to a team who might be in the Championship next season. A low move to Rangers would have been more sensible. Instead of being chucked into the immediate pressure cooker of a relegation dogfight, he'd instead be playing under a Liverpool icon for a team on the front foot, challenging for titles and playing European football. Had he scored 30 goals and won the league, that would do far more for his career and confidence than trying to scrape 6 wins and 40 points in a season. Southampton, MOHAMMED, SALISU, Man United. Okay, I don't know how realistic this was, but apparently prior to Ghana's centre-half MOHAMMED Salisu swapping Valladolid for Southampton, he was interested in Man United. And so if that was true, you're damn right he should have gone to Old Trafford. Tottenham, HART Celtic. I don't get it. Joe Hart has been trying to rebuild his career. He was moaning about not getting games at Burnley, and then willingly signs up for cup games at Tottenham, playing back up to a current world champion. I have faith in Hart's ability. I've always said it. Give him a run of games and he will challenge for the England #1 spot. But you're not going to do that when you play once every 3 weeks and on a Thursday night against a bunch of Bulgarian plumbers. A move to Celtic and return to winning things, challenging for titles. This is the environment a winner like Hart thrives in. Not relegation battles with West Ham or sitting on a bench next to Lamela. A couple of years in Scotland could have completely turned around his career. West Brom, BRANISLAV, IVANOVIC, Everton. What is BRANISLAV Ivanovic doing at West Brom? He was on the verge of a move to Everton in August apparently, which I would have understood. At 36, winding down the clock under his former Chelsea manager, great. But a doomed relegation battle with West Brom? It's like Rio Ferdinand ending his great career on a sour note with QPR. Is this really how you want to be remembered? West Ham, Saïd Benrahma, Aston Villa. Listen, Saïd Benrahma might do well at West Ham, but it is a risk. What's less of a risk is reuniting him with Brentford teammate OLLIE WATKINS in Villa Park. Oh, and the manager who gave him his break in English football. Why didn't he just go to Villa Park? Wolves, Nelson Semedo, Juventus. Again, Nelson Semedo might turn out to have a great time with Wolves, but I don't understand it. Juventus were linked with this guy all throughout the first lockdown. Why didn't? Oh, well, actually, it was probably because they were scared off by him having his dignity pulled out his throat by that Canadian YouTuber. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Let me know in the comments below. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.